Gary Vaynerchuck attacks the real estate market and is convincing people not to buy real estate and buy their own home and instead rent in properties.
It could have easily said no one should ever buy a home, right?
Hey, what's going on? My name's Devin Knupp, but basically, if you guys haven't heard, Gary Vaynerchuk recently spoke at an event called Agent 2021, where basically it was a bunch of real estate agents that met up for this kind of conference, sort of say, where he spoke about his opinions on growing up your brand, which is mainly what he talks about in a lot of his stuff. But he also gave his personal opinion about buying a home, and he says that he is pissed about purchasing a home and wishes that he never did that, and is convincing everybody that you shouldn't go out there and buy a home.
I do not think the American dream should be buying a home anymore. I think it's full of shit.
Tell me more of that shit.
It's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
It's a bad use of upfront capital, and it ties you up.
Correct.
And it's just not smart.
It's not going to appreciate.
And
not the way you want
what
it
is it for? Like, I'm pissed that I own a home.
Yeah.
I would literally rent in perpetuity now. And I will. Like, I've decided, like, I will never buy another new home.
It got taken a lot out of context, and a lot of people were thinking that he was actually specifically attacking the real estate industry, and saying that purchasing a home is a terrible investment, a terrible idea. And here's what he actually kind of meant to say, which he had to kind of apologize and had to make a lot of phone calls. He got a lot of hatred and emails. And with this, he ended up, like, basically the mistake that he made was it was taken out of context a little bit, and he should have, maybe a sentence or two would have been able to make this a little bit more impactful, or at least make it seem like he's not really necessarily saying that real estate is a terrible investment. And more to say what his opinion is that if you are an entrepreneur, if you're looking into investing in a business and you can make a living by yourself, if you have the decision to either purchase a $1 million home and do a $200,000 down payment, what you should rather do if you're entrepreneurial is invest that money back into your business or back into other businesses and take the risk of putting your money out there, so that way you have more liquid cash if you don't purchase that house, so you can have the option to be able to do this and wait instead of just buying a house is the first thing that you do. And the problem with this is it's kind of like the old, like, going to college, is it worth it or is it not worth it kind of debate. And with this, everybody's kind of grown up and told that, hey, whatever money that you make, you need to invest it into real estate. You need to go out there and buy your own home because it kind of acts like a savings account. You're forced to put money into it. You pay down the mortgage, and over time, you have this equity inside of this property, this house, that you can sell, and you've just been saving up money this whole time, and it appreciates, and there's just no way that you can lose if you buy a house yourself and live in it. And instead, what the other topic of debate is rent where you live and buy where you rent. And this is something that a lot of other influencers in the real estate niche talk about, whether it be Grant Cardone, and obviously Gary Vaynerchuk very highly pushes this. And the thing is this goes against what a lot of real estate agents tells everybody. And so if a real estate agent was to go out there and say, hey, I don't think that you should go out there and buy a house, then obviously that's not good for their business if they don't believe in the business and owning a house. The only way that I personally see that it makes sense for you to actually go out there and buy a house, even if you're not entrepreneurial, is to buy a house and turn it into a rental property. So either you rent a house hack, where you basically have like a duplex, or you can rent out the basement and you live in one of these houses and rent out the others. That's the only way that it like makes logical sense to myself. Other than that, I would highly recommend that you go out there and rent where you live, and then on top of that, you just buy houses and rent those out, so that way you have income coming in from those houses. But if you're any sort of entrepreneurial, the best investment that you can make, and I think Gary Vee highly stands up against this after everything that he's had to say about this whole controversy and whatnot, is that the best investment that you can make is into yourself or into something that's a little bit more volatile, a little bit more high risk. And the reason being is so that way you can put yourself into more of the offense and give yourself the opportunity to grow a lot faster than just maybe, let's say, your whole life that you buy a house and then you're kind of just stuck to that one location. So kind of what he pitches, instead of like between the ages of 25 to 35, go out there and buy your own house and put all your money into the house, pay a big down payment so the payments are a little bit less, is to keep that cash liquid and just keep reinvesting in yourself until maybe you're like 39 or 40 and then buy a house, because what you're looking at as far as like at the age of 25 to 35, as far as buying a house or purchasing a house to live in, is going to be a lot different than the perspective of when you're the age of 39 and you put your money, your liquid capital that you saved up into other investments like yourself or your business or other businesses, and then take that money, and then your portfolio or like your bank account is going to be a lot bigger than if you just were to put your money into there. And I see this every day. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I grew up every day just if you owned a house, then you were a pretty successful person. Like, that was the best path to go. But if you were to study and look at other people that have had massive amounts of success throughout time, you'll notice that whenever they had the opportunity, they had a lot of liquid cash, a lot of times they would just invest in themselves because the only thing that you can be reliable upon is yourself. And the problem is, a lot of people think that the best investment opportunity out there is to purchase real estate, which if you actually look at the numbers, let's say that somehow you were able to get like a 20% return on investment on your money, cash on cash return for purchasing a house or even leveraging the mortgage. Let's say that you get a 20% ROI every single year. Now, if you were to reverse that and look at what it would look like instead if you were to invest in your business or invest into some other companies, is if you were to take that same money and let's say that you completely don't make anything, you break even off of the first year. And then the second year, which as long as you're consistently doing whatever you're doing or the company has growth, chances are you're going to be making a lot more than 20% off of your return on investment versus like with buying a business or investing into a business, investing in yourself versus purchasing real estate. And I think that's the point that he's really trying to make, but it was kind of hard to make really transparent. And if you have any sort of entrepreneurial spirit, then you should just go out there and invest in yourself, because betting on yourself is a lot, even though it's a little bit more higher risk, there's a lot higher reward that's available. And honestly, if you just keep putting in the time, keep putting in the work and the effort, your money, your return is going to be way more than if you were to just put your money into a house and then just rely on the market to kind of take it where it needs to go. Yes, you'll make money putting your money into real estate, but at the end of the day, investment opportunities may pop up in that time. Let's say that the market crashes and you're already tied up inside of a house and there's just discounted properties literally everywhere. Everything's 50% off. Everything's at a discount. You're not going to be able to take the opportunity to use that capital to invest into another house. It's just going to be a super hard to be able to purchase all this discounted stuff. So instead of purchasing what's available right now trying to purchase a house that you can live in, is to just reinvest into yourself and have liquid capital available for if a market crash does happen or the opportunity does pop up. Because if you aren't ready for when that opportunity arises and shows up, then you're going to be missing out on what could actually come from that opportunity. So at the end of the day, Gary Vaynerchuk, yes, he kind of like he like as far as like the college thing goes, and I just realized these aren't out. As far as like college goes and university, he like really recommends that like it doesn't make any sense. You got to go against the grain as to what actually what we've been taught and what life previously was like 30 years ago. 30 years ago, you had to be in order to be successful, you had to go out there and get a degree. Today, getting that degree, it really doesn't matter really all that much. If you want a high-paying job, if you want to be super successful, then you're going to have to know what you're doing, and you're going to have these skills. You're going to have experience in order to have success. And the same goes for the real estate industry and the real estate market side of things, is that if you want to be successful, and you got to kind of go against what everybody else tells you. I like sometimes what other people's advice as to what their best advice isn't applicable to what makes sense. Actually, if you take a look as to what the financials would actually look like if you were to go the other route, if you were to go the other direction. And this push against society is very difficult. You're going to get a lot of people that disagree with you, but it's the truth. If you invest in yourself, you can have a lot higher of an opportunity. So at the end of the day, Gary Vee, honestly, You made a little bit of a mistake with just keeping out of the context, if it was taken out of context and you didn't watch the whole video as to when he was doing his talk, because he recorded the whole talk of Agent 2021, and most people, they just saw this one clip where he's just like, I'm upset that I bought a house. And people took I'm upset that everybody is buying a house and it doesn't make sense for you. Yes, obviously there's circumstances where it makes sense if you want to buy a house. If you work a job for the rest of your life, a 9 to 5, have no entrepreneurial spirit, have no willing to take action and go out there and make something for yourself, a real estate investment, purchasing a house, would probably be one of the best investments for you if you don't give yourself the opportunity to make money other ways. But if you have any sort of entrepreneurial spirit, then you should invest in yourself, invest in your business, and invest into other things than purchasing real estate, because it just so that way you're on the offense versus the defense, and just keep living the safe life, which at the end of the day, the safe life, if you were to actually look at it, it doesn't make much sense, but that's for another video. So anyways, that's kind of what's happened with Gary Vaynerchuk, and I just want to bring some light to the situation. He's had to kind of correct himself a few times and everything, and he's just showing what happens. Like you say something and then you kind of realize like, oh man, I should have added a little bit more to this. And I do this every single day as well. Like there's a few things where I just put myself out there and I'm like, man, I could have portrayed this opinion a lot better. And we all make mistakes. And I think that's the lesson that you could really learn out here. But at the same time, I don't think you should buy houses if you are entrepreneurial in any way, shape, or form. So anyways, that's what I got for you guys. If you haven't already, go check out this video right here. Highly recommend it. But anyways, I will see you guys all later. Peace.